Freimann, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, from Northfield. Max Brooke from Roaring Fork, a couple of golfers, Thayer, Plewe. Plewe, okay, close. Montezuma Cortez, he's a long way from home. Ben Harding with Silver Creek, and then student leadership, we have Bryce Davis with Grand Junction Central. So we'll open it up to questions here if you guys want to visit with these. Don't be shy.
Jack, for Northfield, you guys went undefeated last year. The girls program won in the springs. Just how much momentum is there across the board when you look at the soccer program as a whole?
We both, you said, both boys and girls have gone undefeated. We take that momentum, but at the same time, we have a new season. We lost 12 seniors, so we're not rebuilding, but we're in a stage right now where we are tuning to find things, we're working, the chemistry is getting better, and I think that momentum is just a confidence booster. That's all it really is.
What's it like to win a title basically in your backyard?
It's awesome. Dick's Sporting Goods Park is right behind Northfield. We look at that every single day when we train. I think it's super, super special to have a field like right there.
Okay, Thayer, what about travel? I mean, you're probably the farthest athlete from here today, but you have to deal with that every day of your school year, every day of your sports year. How does it affect your golf game, if you will, all the travel you have to partake in?
I mean, it definitely is a factor. For league tournaments, we have to travel 4.5 hours and do overnight trips. But I think that it's just important to remember that we travel there so that we can compete. Like, our team does that because our coaches are so supportive of us and our school is so supportive of us. And the travel comes into effect sometimes when you have to just go, we call it trunk to tee, where you don't really get a warm up. You just pop out of the bus, you grab the bag, and let's go. So, but most of the time, the travel is just kind of a way to say that people really support us in our community. Especially just being from such a small town, everybody kind of knows everybody. So having to travel and seeing the support that we get from our community is just awesome.
But do you feel, I mean, I know you're not an underdog, you're a well-known name in the golf circuits here in high school, but before that, were you an underdog based on location, do you think? Like, who's this guy?
I think so. I mean, when you look at some of the big names in any sport, a lot of them come from big metropolitan areas. I mean, you've got, for example, Tiger Woods came from Southern California. You've got Phil Mickelson came from Southern California. You got all these guys that come from big name cities, go to big name colleges, and being that underdog, it kind of gives you motivation to prove everyone wrong. And being the guy that came from a little town of 11,000 people to cities where there's millions and millions of people, and seeing how we can compete just as well. It's really just kind of, the underdog story is just extremely rewarding when you get to see that you can compete with anybody. So
I think you guys host a region this year, don't you?
Yeah.
So is that, you have to travel so much during the season, how much of an advantage is that going to be for you that you don't have to travel when it really starts counting?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. So I think golf is unique from other sports because not only do you have a hometown crowd when you have regionals, but you also have the home course. And no two golf courses are the same. So being able to play on a course that I've played on since I was 2 years old, and I know the greens, I know the fairways, I know all the angles, it's huge for our team. We get a huge advantage because we've all played it, and not having to travel and knowing the course is just a huge advantage. So we're very excited for that.
And no trunk to tee.
Exactly.
No trunk to tee, hallelujah. We get quite a big warm up.
When you look at the teams across the Four Corners, Durango and teams down in New Mexico in that area, can you just say how good the golf scene is, and how much it's grown?
Oh yeah, for sure. So down in this Four Corners, we have Montezuma Cortez, and we take all the surrounding schools, players. and then you have Durango and Pagosa, and they've all got some great players. Zachary Griswold and Jonathan Smith are two really good up-and-coming players from Durango and Pagosa. Probably the best team-wise is Piedra Vista down in Farmington. They just lost their best player, Quinn Yost, but he's an awesome guy. He's going to Nebraska, and want to congratulate him on that. But just I think it's kind of underrated. We have a lot of players just from the Four Corners area that go and play in national events. Quinn Yost just went to the Junior America's Cup, and we have a ton of great courses. We have a ton of awesome support from our community, which is just making it even better. And the junior, it's really looking good, especially in Cortez. We've got a few really good kids that are like 8 to 12 years old that are going to be coming up into high school. And it's really fun to see how the junior golf is really expanding, like you said.
Go ahead.
Question for Ben. You came into last season kind of with a lot of momentum after a big summer. Can you talk a little bit about how golf went this summer for you and what you're focused on as far as your game goes this year?
Yeah, I'd say absolutely. It's a little different than last summer. Last summer I had kind of like a big win going right into the high school season, but my game wasn't super solid, so it was still kind of learning a lot. This year I feel a lot better about where my game is at. Maybe not having played as well in the summer results-wise, I feel like I've learned a lot, and I'm really able to take that into, definitely changing some stuff going forward. All looking forward towards state. Just trying to keep my game in a solid place, using what I learned to kind of get that score as low as possible.
I think you were third individual and third as a team. Can you talk a little bit about your individual and team goals for the year?
Yeah, goals for the team, obviously win league, win regionals, win state. That's kind of been our goal every year, but it's tough. Our really solid number 2 guy, Josh Lurie, broke his femur. So I just want to, it's really tough losing him. He's such a great kid, and he doesn't deserve that senior year. But we still got 3 seniors. We're all working really hard. We all know what the expectation is. So every day, kind of in practice, just trying to think about the end goal.
Max, talk about that run that you guys had last year. I mean, you knocked out the number 3, the number 2, and the number 1 team in the state. Pretty incredible. So just you got your underdog almost every game. So just talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so we had kind of a bad thing every game where we'd take a goal and then take us about the first half to get into it. And then we'd come back and win it, and that was kind of a reoccurring theme throughout our season as well as playoffs. But I was really proud of our team. We did great. We got a lot going on for us. We had a lot of seniors that left us, but we're going to be doing real good this year. Got a lot of upcoming talent, and yeah, I'm excited for what next season will bring.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it there. You do have a lot of guys back, even though you did graduate some seniors. Can you tell us some of the key names to look out on your squad?
Yeah, I'd definitely be looking out for Emmy Begania and Josh this year, seniors and juniors. Some up-and-coming sophomores will definitely be playing vital roles on our team this year. Our defense is kind of getting reorganized this year, so we'll have Bennett Jardine and a couple other kids back there that'll be taking some crucial roles, but I'm not worried at all.
Obviously, you too, right?
Yeah.
And Bryce, I wanted to ask, a lot of folks here aren't going to be familiar with student leadership, but what do you see your role within your school and your community and says student leadership on the plan?
So I do a couple different things. So I'm here representing CHSAA state representatives, and so that's the student leadership portion of CHSAA, and so I'm the president of that. And so we work across the state with a couple different things. We are representatives on the different CHSAA leadership committees, so like Hall of Fame, sportsmanship, things like that. And so we help out a lot with that and give our insight as a student on that. We also have a couple different committees that benefit both student leaders and student athletes across the state, and so we're hoping on implementing more of those this year. Within Grand Junction, Western Slope, I'm Central High School's student body president, so I kind of oversee all the different events that we do at our school regarding just kind of like dances, homecoming, prom, anything like that.
Steve, go ahead.
What of all those activities that you just listed taught you about you?
So, I'd say really student leadership as a whole has definitely taught me a lot about myself. I started with student leadership in middle school. I had the student council advisor, she came up to me, she kind of talked with me about it, because I never was really into that kind of thing. But definitely once I was able to join in middle school and continue it in high school, it's really brought out a lot of different qualities, and it taught me a lot as well. And so now I kind of have a different path I wanted to go on in life, and so originally I wanted to be an NFL player. That was my biggest thing. I wanted to play for the Broncos, and so that was kind of my goal throughout, like since I was a little kid up until about 7th grade. And then after really diving deep into like student leadership and all of that, it's definitely kind of steered me into a different career path I wanted to go on. And so mainly looking at, I want to be like a computer or a software engineer, political, or someone in politics, looking at that. And so it's definitely kind of steered how my life is going to play out, but I feel like it's definitely been for the best.
And Jack management too.
Yeah.
Jack, one quick question for you, man. So obviously, it was mentioned Northfield won the boys and the girls state title. What do you think that did for the league, for DPS, to get some respect around the state?
I think like you said, it put DPS's name just as a whole, gave us some respect. I think you see a DPS team on your schedule now, you have fear, I guess. Well, we have the potential to beat you and win it again.
Jack, can we expect the hair to be dyed gold again this year?
Ooh, it was a hard process to get out. I'm not sure, but we'll see. To be determined.
All right, guys, we gotta go. We're going on time. Thanks for coming.